Welcome back, Tater Tots. Whether you're a good witch or a wicked witch or just a witchy woman with Wi-Fi, you're exactly where you need to be, on the couch with your favorite queens. It's your girl, Mackenzie, back in the booth and ready to serve broomstick realness. And joining me today is my enchanted, eternally unbothered, never caught melting guest co-host. Give it up for the fabulous Dakota.
Hi.
Now, before we jump into all things all-stars, let's take a moment and say Happy Father's Day to all the daddies out there. The bio dads, the drag dads, the leather daddies, and yes, even the daddies. We see you and we celebrate you. And if you've got a tool belt, a grill, or a bank account, call me. Now, let's get wicked. So, girl, we're going to dive into this, but we got Sophie Dophy. And Bubco says, looking forward to this, ladies. Ben says, I'm defying gravity on this live. Does that mean you high, Ben? But, Sophie, I'm going to kick your ass, Ben. Kenzie, we love the grandma top. Dakota is looking fierce tonight. Let's see if I can ban his ass.
Oh, my God.
Sophie Dophy, your wish is my command. So, before we get started, a little bit of breaking news. NBC Peacock has announced their season 4 cast. Let's take a quick sneak peek, shall we? Let's see, trailers. So, first up, we have Lisa Rinna from The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. What do you think about this one, girl?
Love. Like, chaotic. She's like the Mistress Isabel Brooks of The Real Housewives. Like, I know she's going to bring all the drama. So, I'm excited.
I'm excited to see her interacting with, oh my God, why did my mind just go? Rachel Zoe.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if she would have known about that by the time this airs.
Yep. Next we have hit play. Let's see. Mama Kelsey.
Okay. Travis Kelce's mom. That is, I honestly kind of shocked.
Future mother-in-law.
Yes. I'm kind of shocked that she would do a show like this. I was kind of surprised that she did so many interviews talking about, her son and Taylor Swift and them dating and stuff. But I'm really shocked to see her on a show like this. Like a quote unquote athlete's mom. Like, I don't know. I was not expecting to see her in the list.
Yep. Sophie Davis said Mackenzie looks older. Well, bitch, I'm 45 years old, so suck my titty.
And I'm 23.
And she
yeah, I'm 31. Mackenzie's 45.
Sophie Dophy, Nene was rumored for the cast at one point. Ben said, Kenzie, stop acting like you watch The Real Housewives. I do watch The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and I used to watch Atlanta. I don't watch all of them because there's just no way that I could keep up with all of them. And then saying, Sophie, stop acting like you watch Housewives. Sorry, Kenzie, not directed towards you. Oh, okay, Ben. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying. Sorry. Just
gotta love Ben. Comes for you 1 minute and then defends you the next.
I know. That's how you know that's a real friend. And then Sophie Davis says, I know Lisa Rinna as an actress more than a housewife, honestly. Yeah, same. And Sophie Davis also says, I only watch New York and New Jersey Housewives. Kenzie, same age as Jax Taylor. I'm so sorry. It makes you feel better. My birthday is a day before the Orange Man. Well, happy birthday, Ben. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Next we have Tiffany Mitchell from Big Brother. So you probably don't know anybody think about this, but I think Tiffany will be fun to watch on the Traders, especially given some of the other house guests that are coming up. I feel like she'll be a good contender. I actually wonder if this will be one that they're going to make a trader, but we shall see. Mary says, hello. Hi, Mary. And Ben says, oh, her and Portia are going to run that castle. I kind of agree, Ben. Next up, we have from One Tree Hill, Stephen Coletti.
I don't know him
He'll
either.
I don't either. He'll probably make it all the way to the end, just like Sam Scar did. So, I mean, pretty boys who are stupid tend to do that. Tara Lipinski, Olympic figure skater. I would love to see this.
Honestly, I don't know any Olympic figure skaters except for Johnny Weir and Christy Yamaguchi. Like, those are like the last figure skaters that I paid attention to.
Okay, well, speaking of Johnny Weir, Olympic figure skater, I'm calling it right now. He will be a traitor. Like 100%. I feel like he will be a traitor.
They always give it to like the athletes or the competition shows. They almost never give it to a housewife. Or have they ever given it to? Oh yeah, they did Phaedra Parks. Okay.
Yep. Sophie said, I know her. She's great. Sophie said, too bad we didn't get Frankie Grande. I feel like Frankie's coming down the line. Next up, we have Rob Roche from Love Island. Ooh. Rob from Love Island. Don't know anything about him.
I do. Mackenzie, he's the one on the what's it? Hold on a second. The Keep It Coming podcast that I watch with Cheyenne. What is it? Cheyenne Siren and her like best friend, and they like do a podcast, and they had one of her friends on here and said that they slept together. She's like, he loves the dolls, Miss Thing.
I mean, I'm sure he does. And I would bounce all up on his face. But
I don't watch Love Island, but I just knew that name and I saw his face and I was like, oh, I know who that is.
Dakota watches Love Island USA. I'm proposing. And he's Ben says Rob is messy.
I've never watched it dedicatedly. I've only seen a couple of episodes, but I know who Rob is because he goes through the channels. I
mean, you know, I love a good fuck boy, so bring him on. Next up we have another one I don't know anything about. Kristen Kish from she's the host of Top Chef. Good for her. I feel like she's gonna be boring as fuck. Yeah, he got caught having sex in the villa. Oh. Okay, well. Okay. Michael Rappaport. He's an actor.
He is so chaotic. When I tell you, look up on Watch What Happens Live. He was on there. Him and Kenya Moore were together, and he tried coming for Kenya Moore. And he's like, you just wish you were me, Kenya Moore. And she's like, a middle-aged fat white man. I don't think so. Like, watch that. Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen and Kenya Moore and Michael Rapport. He is so chaotic. I'll put it in quotations. He's an actor, but he's very chaotic in his personal life.
He's in a lot of movies. I just looked all of his movies up. So
he's in a ton of movies, but he is so chaotic. Like, watch that interview with him and Kenya Moore. She literally read him down. Sophie
Dopey, I completely 100% what you just said. How the heck did he get on? That's what I'm wondering. Ben says, boo. Sophie Dopey says, I love Kristen from the Top Shelf. Ben said he's very problematic. And Sophie Dopey, did you see what he said about Gaza? Nope, because I don't know who the fuck he is. Moving on along so we can get your drag race. Portia Williams, the Real Housewife of Atlanta. Love
a legacy.
Yep. Fun tidbit. Back 3 years ago when I was skinny, I almost was a model for one of Portia's fashion shows in Atlanta. So, fun fact.
For her hair care line?
No, she was launching a clothing line back like 3 years ago.
Competing with She by Sheree?
Yes.
Or I mean Sheen by Sheree?
Let's hope there's no railroad mission, if you know what I mean.
Oh my gosh. Is there really not an underground train on the Underground Railroad? Like, Kenya Moore is like, it almost hurts me to hear her being that dumb. She literally, if anyone doesn't know, doesn't watch Housewives, Portia Williams is the granddaughter of Hosea Feed the Hungry, who is very well known in Atlanta. And she got on the show like over 10 years ago. And on her first season, they were at they were like touring like museums and historical things in Black history. And they were talking about the Underground Railroad. And she was wondering where the door was that led downstairs to the Underground Railroad because people have to get off the train. And Phaedra Parks is like, baby, it's a euphemism. Like, there's no train.
Girl.
Like,
and I don't think you watched The View, but Bob the Drag Queen was on The View recently talking about his book about Harriet Tubman. And they didn't say her name directly, but they were like, and these days people don't know that it was real and they think it was an actual train underground going to Canada. So like, yeah, girl. All right. So moving right on along. Next we have Rob Cesarino from Survivor. He is also Rob has a podcast network who is everywhere. He will be fun to watch. I almost wonder if they would make him a traitor, but I feel like that will be way too obvious. So I feel like he will be a faithful that people are going to think instantly as a traitor. Like,
I don't know him because I don't watch Survivor or Big Brother, but he does remind me of Freddie Prinze Jr. Like he could be a brother. That's who he kind of looks like.
Yep, I agree. Moving on along, we have Ron Funches, comedian. Don't know anything about him, so moving on along. Woo, shit, and I hit the wrong button. Oh, let's go forward. Let's go. Ron. Maura Higgins from Love Island, USA, After Sun. I don't know who she is, but she's fucking fierce. And I feel like Ben likes her, so I like her.
Yeah, she looks like she's going to be a fun time.
Yep. Next we have Candace Dillard Bassett from The Real Housewives of Potomac.
I've never seen that franchise of the show before.
All I know about her is she's going to be fierce, and it should be fun to watch, especially with her and some of the other housewives. I feel like that. I'm just going to be honest. I feel like if she's not if she is not a traitor, she will be an early out, in my opinion. That's just from me, from the one or two things I've seen about her. That's it.
They always try to get the housewives off first anyway. Historically,
especially after the Phaedra season. Yep. Let's see here. Next we have Yam Yam Arocha from Survivor. I know nothing about him because I'm not a huge Survivor person. But chat, what do y'all think? How do y'all like him? Moving on along. Eric Nam is a singer-songwriter.
Is he from the Asian boy group?
I have no idea. It's an interesting choice. I guess they're trying to get more international viewers by adding, I don't know. I know nothing about him, so I don't know. Monet Exchange from RuPaul's Drag Race.
RuPaul's Drag Race alumni and an All-Stars winner.
This is going to be fun.
Honestly, I hope she is smarter than her drag mother was and doesn't slip up and say the wrong thing and gets her booted out quick. Bob would have been a force if Bob didn't say like the wrong thing at the right time.
Kenzie, I need you to take a pronunciation course. I know how to pronunciate. I just have a problem where I will speak very fast and put my words together. Sophie Dophie, this is the first season without any British people. I didn't notice that. So
just forgive Mackenzie, y'all. She is 45 and she does have a lot of damage to her larynx from blunt force trauma. So that could be a reason why she stutters and slurs and doesn't get her pronunciation right.
Stutters, bitch. Mary says hard not to do better than Bob and Peppermint. Oh, Mary. Sophie Dophie, Carolyn Stanbury, and Mara are both from the UK. That's why I didn't say anything because, I didn't know where anybody's from.
Is Sophie Dovey really from the UK?
No, Sophie Dophie's from USA.
Oh.
I think. I don't really know. But I did come across Sophie Dophie's Facebook page, YouTube channel earlier today, and I realized that Sophie Dophie is the name of this person's dog. So I love that, Sophie for a dog's name. That's so cute. Come on, Kenzie, let's get you to bed. Okay, honey. Now have y'all seen that little old lady? She's a little old black lady, and they're sitting there talking about, come on now, you need to sit down. She's like, shut your fucking mouth up. I want to get me some dick.
Miss Holla. Baby. Yes, that's Miss Holla. I think she passed away recently.
Oh, but that's going to be me. I'm going to be the little old lady that's being the dirty, nasty old perv. Like, come here, give me some of that dick.
And since I am 15 years her junior, or senior, 15 years your junior.
Duffy, I'm going to kill you. Mackenzie look like she's 50. Bitch, fuck you, whore. It's giving Bam from Medea. Yes. But Monet Exchange will be fun. I hope. Well, I was going to say I hope that she's a faithful, but I kind of hope that she's a traitor. And I hope she does better than Bob so then that she can lord that over Bob.
Because I will say she's really good at playing the game. She's really good at getting under people's skin. When she's in a competition, she did the same thing with Trinity and a couple of the other girls when Manila Luzon voted for her, and then she's like, oh girl, I forgave you, and then she's like, no, I'm a petty ass bitch, I do not forgive her, that's why I booted her off.
Next up we have Natalie Anderson from Survivor. I think she will be fun to watch. That's really all I know about her. So
like a politician.
Kenzie, look up John Rocker versus Natalie on Survivor. It's amazing. I'll look that up a little bit later. Next up we have Mark Ballas from Dancing with the Stars. It'll be fun to watch him, but as far as having any type of gameplay, I hope at least some of these people have watched the Traitors and understand the game that they're coming into and playing. Next we have Colton Underwood from The Bachelor. Interesting choice.
He looks familiar. Is he the one that came out as gay?
Yep.
Okay, that's why he looks familiar.
Yep. He's gay. Next up we have Carolyn Stanbury from the Real Housewives of Dubai.
I kind of remember her from when I was watching. Ion is just my favorite on Dubai.
What is she wearing? Like,
she looks like that movie, the Master of Disguise. She's like, am I turtly enough for the Turtle Club? That's what it's giving.
Ian Terry from Big Brother. So Ian, he's a winner of Big Brother. It's going to be very fucking interesting to see how he does. He is very good at kind of blending into his surroundings, and he
looks like someone's homophobic uncle.
No, he's fun. He's good time. We'll see how he does on the Traitors. We'll see if he can beat some of the other, Big Brother players. I could see him go far too, Sophie Duffy. It just depends on how he adapts to the game. And he's one that could adapt really well. And then we have Lorinda from the Real Housewives of New York making a return.
Dorinda, I am so glad that they brought her back. I feel like she got booted off way too quick last season, and she's definitely a force. I feel like out of all of the housewives that are on this season, she's the strongest personality out of all of them. And she's an Italian girl. Love it. I love me some Italian ladies. So
Mary also brought up a good point. Ian Terry is also good friends with Rob from Rob Has a Podcast and Survivor. So it'll be interesting to see that duo play together. And if one of them is made a traitor. And I could see Ian being made a traitor. So Dorinda would end Kenzie with a singular cocktail. Baby, you must not know how well I can hold my liquor. Ask Dakota how much I can drink. Let's see. Ian's also friends with Tiffany, I think, as well. Okay, cool. So that's Traitors. We will, of course, be covering the Traitors when it comes out, whenever it comes out. So just wanted to take a quick look at the cast before we dove headfirst into RuPaul's Drag Race tonight, because I knew Sophie Dophy, who has been hinting at who the cast was going to be for months, would be up in here asking us what we thought about the Traitors cast reveal. So Sophie Dophy, that was for you, because I love you. Girl, so let's get into Drag Race. What did you think about this episode, girl?
I loved it because I'm such a big fan. I grew up on The Wizard of Oz, and I never got to see Wicked, the musical. I've seen, performances on YouTube over the years, but I've never actually gotten to see it. So when the movie came out, of course, I was obsessed with it. So whenever they do it on a movie that I love, I was obsessed. So I wore, you can't really tell because of my lighting, but this is like hot pink, but
I'm nipples.
Hot pink because Galinda the Good. I told Mackenzie to wear green, but she didn't have any green. So she could be Elphaba.
Yeah. I mean, I could be
As Mackenzie would say, she wouldn't say Elphaba. With her mispronunciation, she would say Elphsheba.
No, I call her Elphaba. Elphsheba.
Elphsheba.
Sophie said, I'm here more than when V hosted this. Well, we can't all be established as they are. So, let's move on into our episode. Let me find. So we are in bracket 3, baby, and these girls came in lukewarm. Mary said it best. Purple bracket was boring. It could have been an email.
I actually after all the drama last season, I don't know if my nerves could have handled it.
Last season, you mean last week?
Last week, yeah. Last week, bracket 2, with all the drama that went on, I kind of am liking that this is a little bit more chill. We'll talk a little bit more about it, but there's a couple of people that I was expecting to be chaotic, and I'm like, oh, they're nice this season, because they were total opposite on their original season.
Yep. So bracket 3, just a reminder that the winner of this bracket will face off against the winners of bracket 1 and bracket 2. The winner of bracket 1, just in case anybody has forgot, was Irene the Alien, Bosco, and Aja. And bracket 2, the winners are Georges, Lydia Butthole Collins, and Mistress Isabel Brooks. Sophie Dophy asked, is this season still going on? Yes, girl. We only on episode 7 of probably 12 or 13 episodes.
It probably seems like we're still on the first season, which started in January, February, and then ended in May. And then we had literally less than a 3-week hiatus before we started covering All Stars. So, yeah. So that's why it seems like this season is going on and on and on, because we've literally been podcasting RuPaul's Drag Race for the last 6 months.
And if you're new to Drag Race, you can watch every Friday on Paramount Plus. So, let's get into the entrance looks really quick, shall we? First up, we have Acid Betty. I'll go first. Acid Betty. I enjoyed her look. It's not my cup of tea. But for this, I'm going to say that
ours is striving to be, or maybe needs to strive to be, with her aesthetic, where you can blend both art and makeup together. She's doing what she does best. I would mop it.
You would mop it too? Next up we have Miss Alyssa Hunter. I'll be honest, given her promo picture and everything, I expected a lot more from her. So for me, Popcorn pass.
I would mop it. If we're being honest, I don't really, me and Tsunami and you talked about it, I don't really remember her that much from her season. I'm not being shady, I just don't remember her. But I do like this look, so I don't really have anything to base it off of, so I would mop it.
Next up, we have Miss Cuckoo herself, Cynthia Lee Fontaine.
Miss
Girl.
She was giving us Queen of Hearts.
Girl, fuck that shit.
911, what's your emergency?
Couch catastrophe. I hated it.
I would mop it if I could make some edits, but if I can't, then I would just say I would just mop it. I mean, if I could make some edits to it, I would mop it. I like what she was going for. I just feel like it could have been a little bit more cohesive, but I would mop it.
It was ugly. And we found out, if you watch Roscoe's recap, you find out from there that this outfit was falling off of her on stage, and production assistants had to basically come up and glue it onto her body so she could finish the runway look. That's how horrible it was. Let's see. Next we have Miss Daya Betty.
Again, giving us what she usually gives us. Like, I wasn't expecting anything less with her. Her and Alyssa Betty are not related, but I kind of knew what they gave beforehand. I kind of knew what to expect. So I would mop it.
Yep, I agree. I'm also going to mop it. Next up we have Miss Denali.
Mop it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you're gonna mop it, and let's
think who else is there after her? Is there two more?
Minj.
Huh?
Ginger Minj.
I'm gonna mop this. Actually,
I'm gonna slay of the day for me.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. Slay of the day for me.
Girl, you so.
I just like a monochromatic look, and her body's amazing. She is an ice skater.
I love her shoes. That's the only reason I'm giving it to her, with her shoes, the ice skating shoes.
Her and Ginger Minj were my favorites as far as their entrance looks. But I love this. Her legs look amazing. Her ass is amazing. So I'm gonna give it a slay of the day for sure.
Sophie Duffy says, I love Dakota. She seems down to earth. And said that, are you talking about Sophie Duffy? Are you saying that Dakota is the Dolly Parton lookalike, or Denali on the screen is the Dolly Parton lookalike? And then Mary has stolen the words out of I'm giving her a slay today on this look, but I am also tired of the ice outfits. But we're gonna talk more about that in a minute, because I got something to say about that here in just a little bit. No, the Dolly on the screen. Okay. She thinks that Denali looks like Dolly Parton on the screen. Last but not least, we have Miss Ginger Minj. Girl, I'm giving this a I expected more out of Ginger for this.
It was her and Denali were like my top looks. I don't think anybody looked horrible. I think if I'm going to say whose outfit was the worst, was technically Cynthia Lee Fontaine. But I thought Ginger Minj, compared to what she's brought on her the past two All-Stars she's been on, plus her original season, like, I feel like she's like slowly just been getting better and better. I love this on her. I wish that the length would have been a little bit shorter.
Fuck you, Sophie Duffy. You wrong for that.
But I like the look. I love the fabric. It's like that vinyl, like pleather, like fake.
Girl, fat folks don't need to be in vinyl or pleather, either one. And I can say that because I'm fat.
I like it.
Girl. So what are you giving this?
I'm gonna mop it.
All right. Choices. Let's see. Let me take that off. So who do you think had the fiercest entrance look?
Well,
So out of these three, who do you think had the best look? For me, it's Denali.
honestly, I said Denali was my slay of the day, but now looking at it, Alyssa Hunter's is really, I really like Alyssa Hunter's. I, I'm gonna say it's a
I'm
tie.
still giving it to Denali just because those shoes, those custom made shoes,
Yeah.
were yeah.
Yeah, I would say Alyssa Hunter. I'm just gonna say, even though I said she was my slay of the day, Alyssa Hunter was the fiercest out of these three.
And out of these three,
Um,
Daya Betty.
yeah, probably Daya Betty.
Yep. So we find out while the queens are on stage that this week's Maxi Challenge is going to be a design challenge in pairs inspired by Wicked. The queens find out that they will be designing this week with inspiration from Wicked for Good, and they will be giving us a bewitching look. Glenda and Elphaba learned about working together, so the queens will be working together. One will create a good witch look, and the other will create a wicked look. And they must create an enchanting story. They must pair off with their best frenemy. They can use the materials provided. They want originality and they want a concept, not a carbon copy of Wicked. So Dakota, if you were cast in Wicked, the Drag Edition, would you be the good witch or would you be the one setting your ex's house on fire with glitter and rage?
Aesthetically, I would probably fit the villain more so than the hero, but like personality wise, I feel like I fit the good witch better. It's just like appearance wise, I probably look like I would play.
Sophie Dopey thinks that you and I would have done well in this challenge.
Sophie Dopey and everybody else that's watching, who do you think would have been the bad witch and who would have been the good witch?
That would have been me. You would have been the good witch for sure. It's like Ginger Minj and Daya were saying. Daya's like, why fix something that's not broken?
Yeah. Play to your strengths, especially on the first challenge.
So they've said, we know Mackenzie would be the bad witch. Let's put it this way. I'm not so much the bad witch. I'm just misunderstood and people have turned me into the bad witch. A lot like Elphaba. So it's not so much that Elphaba or I are wicked. It's that we were made wicked by other people.
She's not Elphaba. She is the Wicked Witch of the West and the Wizard of Oz. Before we knew she was misunderstood.
Mackenzie bad witch with Dakota as a good witch. Yep. So the queens enter the workroom. So which of these queens would you have wanted to be paired with?
Probably Ginger is really strong with comedy and theater. God, I would say either her or Acid Betty, if we're being honest, because Acid Betty is complete opposite of me aesthetically, but Ginger Minj is more like me, like theater wise. So I would say Ginger or Acid.
I pretty much agree. I would add Daya into that. And I would say it would depend on if I go in there and I'm confident that I could make an outfit, then I would want to be paired with Ginger because I would want someone that's going to be able to help more with the comedy side. If I felt like I was better at the comedy and giving the backstory on this, which I feel like I'm pretty decent at on that, then I would be pairing because I really can't sew. Then I'd be going with Daya or Acid because those bitches know how to sew. You know. So the queens are entering the workroom, and Denali feels like she's back home with a competition, and she's back in the ice ring, and that the whole competition within a competition just is right up her alley, and she's gonna win. Daya said that she thinks Hunter's skirt says nut instead of Hunter. We're also reminded that Daya and Alyssa are season 14 sisters. And if you remember, that didn't go over very well. But Alyssa assures Daya that it's all in the past and they're sisters now. Do you believe that? You don't really remember her from the season. She was there like 1 or 2 episodes, but that's the one that called Daya Betty out for being a bitch. And
I mean, to be honest, I do remember Daya Betty on her season. She was very unlikable. Like, she was very like.
But in the reunion episode, Alyssa's the one that called her out for that and called her out on her behavior.
I mean, she was.
Yeah.
I mean, she's very talented, but Daya Betty was literally, she was whining, she was complaining, she was bitching about what others were saying, how other people were doing stuff. And she was just like just getting into her head way too much. And she came off as very unlikable. Like, she not necessarily mean girl, although she was kind of picking fights, maybe unintentionally, but she was not likable on her season.
Yep. We find out our Ginger Minj then reminds us that this is her 4th time on Drag Race, and she's hoping that her 3rd All-Stars will be the winning combination, but she has a big target on her back. And I'm like, really? Do you really have a big target on your back? Because this isn't where people can eliminate you.
This is her 4th run on Drag Race, but she was on, wasn't she on Canada?
This is her 3rd All-Stars. So while it's her 4th time on Drag Race, it's her 3rd All-Stars. So they say the 3rd time's the charm.
But wasn't she
on her 3rd time on All-Stars?
Wasn't she on UK versus the World or Canada versus the World?
Girl, I don't know.
I think she was. I feel like she was on there and she didn't make it very far. She was they got rid of her real quick. I feel like she was on one of those.
She was on television credits. RuPaul's Drag Race, season 7, All Stars 2, she came back on, did RuPaul's Drag Race season 11 as herself as a guest, / Donald Trump, whatever. RuPaul's Drag Race All Star season 6 and Drag Race season 10. So no, she's done Super Drags, AJ and the Queen, Drag Me to Dinner, and she was on Chopped. But that's the only, she was not on anything else.
Okay.
This is according to her IMDb page. So, I mean, that could be wrong, but. Yeah, Mary said season 7, All Stars 2, All Stars 6, and now All Stars 10. So, yeah. Mary said, we call her wide. Well, her back is wide.
Well, Ginger Minj is also notoriously very short. So she automatically, when you're short and you like, you're not going to carry.
She's almost as tall as Ariana Grande was in heels.
Yeah. So you're not going to carry your weight as well when you're shorter. So like you gain 10 pounds when you're short. It looks like you've gained 50. You gain 10
let's give her mama some props because she has lost some fucking weight recently.
Yes. Her and Mr. Isabel Brooks. I don't know if they're in the Ozempic area, but girl, like.
Then we find out that Acid Betty and Miss Cuckoo are talking together, that they're happy to be there together. They are season 8 sisters, and Acid also helped Cuckoo during her liver cancer battle. They also discussed that they are the old bitches in the competition. So I just find it really interesting that right off the bat, we have so many kind of pairing ups. And these are all people who did not wind up working together in the challenge. So it really makes me excited to see what they do with the MVQ points because there's so many kind of.
Well, you see how in the last 2 brackets, they've wanted to play into their alliances. And not so far, I don't see any alliances right now, which I feel like could be a strength because I feel like alliances are detrimental, as we've seen in the past. So I feel like even though they're acknowledging that they're friends and they are friends off the show and they have past relationships, they're picking who they think is going to get them to the end. So,
girl, The alliances are what got Mistress and Georges to the end. They're in their alliance together. So their alliance and them working together is what got them all the way to the end and got them the extra points. Nelson, hi. How are you, Nelson? Hush.
They were only on 3 episodes. Like, they're not at the end of the season. How many alliances have gotten people to the very, very, very end of the finale of the show?
I mean, well, I know, but that's not the point. The point for these alliances is to get them through the 3 episodes and help them get points. Then when they get to the next part of the game, it changes because it's a different game now. There's, it's at a different point. So
evening, Nelson.
And then Mary says on season 8, they did a Wizard of Oz challenge. Both Cynthia and Acid didn't make it that far. Oh, I forgot about that. Nelson says, I am well. So next, let's talk about pairings. Got a little bit messy and a little bit chaotic to an extent, but a little bit of drama. Hey, Dakota. So we find out really quickly from Ginger that she is not happy about this being a design challenge. Saying, fuck me running with a chainsaw. A design challenge week 1. Thanks. This was my biggest concern. We also find out that several girls are wanting to be paired with Acid Betty. Daya and Ginger are also hot commodities. And then Daya immediately made it clear that she only wants to work with Acid or Ginger. Which, okay, she manifested a duo and she got it. But did anybody else, did you clock the side-eye tension and kind of just everybody giving the side eyes on this whole little situation right here? Because there were some people that weren't said that they wanted to be worked with.
Well, yeah, there was a couple of people like Acid Betty and Ginger Minj. They were just sitting there and like, everybody wants to work with us, but like, do y'all want to hear who we want to work with? I think people see Acid Betty, although she hasn't been on a season in a long time. She was very, very good on her season up until she...
Look, is trying to be an attention whore.
That's a little Reagan. I don't know if Reagan's ever made an appearance on the Couch Potato Queens podcast before.
Probably not.
But Acid Betty is a very strong designer and seamstress and makeup artist. And Ginger Minj is good at comedy, theater, singing. And she's been on 4 different franchises so far. So we know they're probably both out of everybody the strongest. So I would want one of those 2 as well.
Mary says I would want Ginger because I know they want her to move forward. And, I have said this the last 2 brackets, but I stand by it even more, especially after seeing this episode. I don't feel like in this setup for this game scenario, like the Tournament of All-Stars type thing, that the older queens are giving them their best shot because they've been so out of the game for so long. Acid Betty, for example, she's not been here forever. Cuckoo's not been there forever. So, I mean, they're kind of rusty.
I feel like out of all 3 brackets, the girl that is the oldest out of the 3 brackets, I feel like if one is going to excel, it's going to be Acid Betty. Out of all of the older queens that have not been on a season in over, like, let's say 7 to 8 years or more, I feel like Acid Betty is going to be the one to excel out of everybody.
I disagree just based off of this challenge. I thought that coming into this challenge, but after this challenge, I'm like, oh yeah, she's not going to go very far. I don't think, we'll see. Splinta says, I'm having boneless wings, dear. Hi, Splinta. Well, I hope you enjoy your boneless wings. Okay. So we find out that the pairs that are going to be working together are Acid and Denali, Daya Betty and Ginger Minj, Alyssa Hunter, and Cynthia Lee Fontaine. And I was actually surprised with the amount of fabrics and materials that they were given to work with in this challenge. Were you? Like, usually it's a lot more sparse than this.
Yeah, I feel like they were given a good amount of like color choices and textures and accessories to go off of. So, what would you have done if you were going to do the challenge? What was the theme that you would have done?
Honestly, I probably would have gone in something direction of like what Ginger and Daya did, because I love the water. Especially if like you and I were doing something together. We both love the sun. We both love the water. So I made you like, I would have been like in a storm or something. And then you would have been like, the good witch of the sun or something because you love the sun. Like something that we both enjoy. And then I would have gone with like watercolors and like gold and orange colors. Like gold and orange colors for you, like really bright sunshine, and then something waterish for me.
Yeah, I would have done either like fire and ice, so like red and blue, or I would have done like gold and silver.
Yeah.
Are probably the colors.
I would have tried to stay away from fire and ice because I feel like, and we'll talk about that more when we get to that pairing, but I feel like that's a very easy and predictable route to go. You know what I mean? Like we've already seen Frozen.
Or like purple and blue, like what or even something like black and white. Like, I mean,
Yep. Somebody Splenda says Daya looked so costumey. I was disappointed. Her yellow baby doll dress from season 14 was much better. And Mary says I would have done something metallic gold and silver. And Nelson says the Fire and Ice Will Ferrell movie when they did the ice skating.
Oh yes. Yes.
I completely forgot about that. But yeah, you're right. That looked completely like that. So let's go with our first pairing, Acid, Betty, and Denali. What I found funny about this whole little thing is when Denali was on screen and said she's back, she's like, I'm back and I'm going to be taking risk this time around. And then what does she do? She's ice.
Yeah. Which is it fitting? Yes, because she's an ice skater, but I think out of the two, she would be the nice one, and Acid Betty would be the abrasive one. But
that's not risk. That's not taking a risk.
No.
Like that's what we expect her to do. We expect her to come out and wear something ice skatery or do something icy. And I mean, yes, on brand, but it's not even good on brand. You know what I mean?
I think only like maybe 30% of the room actually knew how, like Daya and Acid were really the only ones that knew how to make and design something. So I feel like they were kind of like playing it safe and playing to their strengths the first episode to kind of like test the waters out. Maybe that's why she didn't do that. I don't know, but
yeah. So next up we have Daya Betty and Ginger Minj, the unlikely duo that we didn't know we needed.
Ginger Minj is so cute. She's so I just want to like fold her up and put her in my pocket.
She would fit. I thought it was funny that Ginger's like, I want to be the wicked one and you can be the good one. And Daya Betty's like, no. We've got too much to do. Let's not fix or let's not, do something that's not broken. Let's not fix something that's not broken. Which is smart because, I mean, you only have 3 episodes, And I know that kind of contradicts what I just said with Denali because I'm like, well, Denali said she's going to take risks and be different. And here she comes out doing it. The difference is Denali didn't do it well and Daya and Ginger did.
Yeah, Ginger, her comedic timing and everything was perfect. I know we'll talk a little bit more about it when we get to like their actual performances, but they were like 2 out of the 3 groups that stood out to me. And I'll give my reasons why later. But yes, I feel like they were.
Yeah, I feel like only one of the 3 groups stood out. So,
they stood out for different reasons.
Yeah, true. Last but not least, let's see. Mary says, Daya said I am not taking a risk, and it makes sense to the only girls with challenge wins. True.
If it ain't broken, don't fix
And again, Acid and Denali never won anything. They didn't even make it that far in the original seasons. And Alyssa didn't, and Cynthia made it okay, but I mean, she didn't do well. So you're not wrong. Speaking of Cynthia, her and Alyssa Hunter are doing an auntie-niece dynamic.
They put the two Latina queens together.
Tweeters. I don't. This is going to sound so bad. But I don't really blame them because when it comes to an acting, well, I feel like maybe if they had been paired with a queen that was not, that was an American queen, we'll put it that way, or in a native English speaking queen, we'll say that, then I feel like they would have been able to direct them into a different direction. But if they had done this on Drag Race Mexico or one of the South American Drag Race franchises, I feel like it would have done well. But this pairing and the route that they took it on the US franchise is going to be things that not everyone's going to catch. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but we'll talk more about it when we get to there.
Like when they were choosing each other's duos, they chose someone that they knew was going to be a strength to them, that was going to get them to the end. And unfortunately, they don't see Alyssa and Cynthia Lee Fontaine on the same level as them, unfortunately, when it comes to something like this, like especially a design challenge. So like I understand like not picking your friend and picking someone you think is going to get you to the end. That's when the competition really sets in, especially when there's only 3 episodes in a bracket. So,
and Mary just said it best. Mary said, I totally understood the references, but I'm from Mexico. And that's the point that I was making, is that I understood some of the references, but the only reason I understood those references was because of Selena's titties. The golden chancla, I'm probably saying that wrong and butchering it, but you know what I mean. And so that's the only reason I understood some of what they were talking about. But it was lost for me. Do I feel like they are good and do I feel like they're fabulous and all? Yes, but I feel like it would have really benefited them having a queen who could have helped steer them in a different direction. Because I mean, it's kind of like oh my god, I forgot her name from last season All Stars. Y'all, I'm horrible with names. Hold on, now I've got to Google it. RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 9.
While Mackenzie's looking that, I'm going to perform a little bit of the song from Wicked. I've heard it said. I'm just kidding.
And now everyone's monitors just busted. Jessica Wilde.
Okay.
So like how Jessica Wilde is such a fabulous queen, but she did not get some of the, I feel like they just get caught up, too caught up in the story, and they don't think of, is this going to translate to the audience that I'm in front of? You know what I mean?
I love this drink.
Taco Tuesday.
She likes her burrito with the carne.
I don't care what it is. Jessica Wilde could sell me ice. I could be an Eskimo in Alaska, and she could sell me ice, and I would give her all of my money and buy everything.
Jessica Wilde is like a treasure. Like she's just one of those people. She's like the most precious person. Like she's so genuine, and like it just reads through the camera, and like her having such a thick accent just makes her personality seem even more authentic and warm. I love Jessica Wilde, but I love that on season 2 when they were trying to advertise their book, and then they had the acai drink, and she's like, "Oh." In the middle of a conversation, oh, I love this drink.
Yeah. Yep, I completely agree. I would say the only queen outside of that I would buy anything they're selling like that would be Yada Sophia. And it's only because I know Yada, I've met Yada. Yara is a queen, in my opinion. So, moving on along, let's go to, so just when the workroom was simmering with creative chaos and questionable glue gun decisions, in strolls Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, like two witches who shop exclusively at Bergdorf's.
The pastel Easter egg queens. Like, when they said, I love them to death, and I know that they are advertising. I did not know this. Mackenzie actually told me this a couple of months ago that I'm like, are they filming like, how are they already coming out with this? Like, and you're like, oh, well, they filmed both movies within like a 6 or 7 month period. Like, they filmed them all at once. They didn't film one movie and then wait 6 months. They filmed them all at one time. So I like that they're still doing
It also happened during COVID as well. And then I think they had like a 6-month break. So all of the flying scenes and everything happened like 6 months to a year after they had wrapped filming. So, yeah.
I like that they're still doing like I feel like we just got Wicked and we're literally already getting the promotion and their little promotion tour for Wicked. Yes. So I feel like it hasn't even been a year yet. But when they said,
because it came out in November last year.
Yeah. So when they said, we're not even trying to be color coordinating, we literally, don't tell each other what we're going to wear until like last minute. And I was like, if you have to tell people that, it's very obvious that you're color coordinating.
But I mean, I also kind of buy it to an extent because they are going on this to promote Wicked. So Cynthia is probably going to wear something greenish. Ariana's probably going to wear something pinkish. And so it's, and they both are the same size and they probably both shop at the same places. So, I mean,
And I love both of them for different reasons. Like, I love, both of them have a theater background, but of course, Ariana Grande is a pop princess. And then we have Cynthia. I think they're coordinating because they're both wearing suits and they're both pastels. One is pastel green, one is pastel pink. I don't think they're matchy, but I think they're color coordinating for a reason because obviously they're here.
Or if they're not, their team on the backside is. Their assistants are. There's something, somebody sent something and say, what is she wearing? What, because they want them to photo and they want them to look well and not clash. So
it is cutesy to see how close of friends they are. I don't know how much.
To say that.
Yeah. How much, I don't know how much is played up for the movie and, them producing themselves and promoting the movie unintentionally. I feel like Ariana Grande's personality has changed so much from her acting days on Nickelodeon, like her theater days when she was younger, and then Nickelodeon, and then, getting into pop music, and then now getting back into theater and movies again. I feel like her personality has changed so much. So, like, I can never tell what's authentically her and when she's, like, trying to be Glinda. I feel like Cynthia is more authentically herself no matter what, whereas I think Ariana Grande kind of plays back and forth.
I think Cynthia is just being authentically herself, and that's just out there in her. I think Ariana, and if you're an Ariana fan and I say something you don't like what I say, please don't come. I don't have the time or energy, and this is nothing against her. I think she's fabulous as an actress. I love her. Even when she licked a donut, I loved her. But I think it's genuine, the friendship. I don't feel like it's played up because of the little, like at the Oscars, for example. When, she came out on stage and then it was Cynthia's turn and Ariana backs off the stage and completely gives her the stage, little things like that. It's like, I feel like Ariana knows her star power coming into this was probably higher than Cynthia's. I mean, obviously it was so. And I feel like she realized that. Well, I know she did because she's like, I'm getting paid this. Cynthia has to be getting paid the exact same thing. Like, she pushed for her to get paid and then to get paid equally. And Cynthia was making, I think, like 70 or 80% less than she was. So, I mean, little things like that. It's not something that you do if you're being a bitch or unauthentic. And if she was being unauthentic, I think Cynthia wouldn't go along with it and be like, bitch, get the fuck away from me. Just because I feel like she has that type of energy. You know
I feel
what I mean?
between the filming of the movie and then all of the PR they've had to do for the movie. I mean,
And isn't the married man she was sleeping with also in this movie?
yeah, Bach.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was married, had just gotten married a year previous to her husband, and he was married and had a child on the way with the woman, and they started dating on the set and divorced their significant others. That's why there was so much drama with the movie, because they were both dating while they were still married.
Look,
So,
do I think cheating is right? No, but I also have learned a long time ago not to judge because it's none of my business. It doesn't affect me.
People idolize celebrities so much, but you have to realize that celebrities are literally just people. They just have a camera on them 24/7 and they make a lot of money. That's about the only difference. They still make mistakes. They're not perfect. They get acne. Like, they have cellulite. They have stretch marks. They have their own insecurities. Like, they're literally just people.
I also want to say I love the fact that they could have easily come in here and done this and tried to make it about them. But the version of, which we'll get to this at the end when we do the lip sync, but the lip sync was to Defying Gravity. But the lip sync was to the OG Defying Gravity from Broadway that
Idina
Menzel did. Thank you. I listen to her all the fucking time. So now y'all see I'm bad with names. It just too much drugs. Anyway, yeah, I love that they gave an old school, gave it back to the old school and to the OGs and paid an homage to them and are not making it all about them.
And a lot of people were like,
gotten the clearance for this song. The fact that the stars of the movie are on Drag Race, they would have given them full release for Defying Gravity.
But had that first Broadway show not come about with the original actresses and singers, Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth, they were the first Glinda and Elphaba on Broadway. Like, they were the first ones. That's why everyone calls them the OGs, because they were the first. So I feel like it's good that they're paying homage to the original Broadway version, because that a lot of times gets overshadowed by the live action movies. So I'm glad that they did that. And honestly, if that Broadway had not come about, this movie would not be going on. So, but yeah, I think their friendship is authentic. I just feel like Cynthia is actually being a human being in herself. And I feel like Ariana Grande, we know what she's really like. And I feel like this character has almost become a part of her personality. I don't know if she's gotten to where she's a method actress and it's kind of like come off, because even her singing is better. Like, she used to be made fun of a lot because she didn't really use enunciation and diction when she would sing, which is a pop music kind of deal. But she's actually like taken a lot of those theater techniques that she's learned from her vocal coaches doing the movie. And like, her singing is so much better than it used to be.
Well, I think that's what where I was going with all this originally is with her, Cynthia Rivas herself. I feel like Ariana is a bit of a chameleon. Like, whatever era she's in, like pop star diva era, we have the ombre hair. This era, but I feel like here she's kind of embodied Glinda, and so she's more soft spoken and she's wispy and fairyish, ethereal like. So I feel like she's just a chameleon. So I feel like once she gets another role and she, we'll see her morph into something else.
She's going to be one of those actresses that gets so into a movie and is like so method that character kind of stays with them for.
But I love that because that makes her interesting.
Yeah.
Yep. And I love the fact that they came in and they were really trying to have time with the girls, kind of mentor them. Cynthia was talking all about finding your partner's wavelength, and Ariana even said, in disagreements, you can still find ways to support one another, and hinted at offering a venti iced coffee while doing it. Then we see, so tidbit of information, on Roscoe's recap, Acid Betty and Daya Betty were there. And Acid Betty said that Ariana was like, oh my God, and there's the mirrors. And I said, yeah. And there's cameras behind there where they can watch us and film us. And she's like, oh my God, I wish I could see that. So Acid Betty said, you're Ariana Grande. What are they going to do? Tell you no? Just walk back there and tell them I'm Ariana Grande and I want to go back and see the mirrors where they film everything. They're going to let you. And what happens? We see Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo behind the walls with the cameras, with flashlights, peeking through and going,
so weird to see like that. Like, it's so weird to see behind the scenes of stuff like this because, like, if you're not a regular viewer, I'm talking for years, like, I thought this was like just one big like warehouse room that they had, decorated and stuff. It's literally a warehouse, basically. It's a set, and they build a room like in the middle of it, and there's mirrors everywhere all around it. So it's like a little small.
But the walls are cloth.
Yeah. If you can see, like, because of the AC, they said they keep it like 63 degrees like the whole time. They said every now and then if you look, you can see the walls like moving a little bit because it's just fabric. It's literally
very big brother.
It's a small square room that they've built with like sheets and mirrors in a humongous set of a room.
Yep. It is very Big Brother. If I ever can get you to watch Big Brother, you'll see there's mirrors in every room, and behind those are men with cameras. So filming 24/7. But yeah. So we get ready for the runway, and of course we already know Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are guest judges with La Roche. I actually loved his outfit.
I love that they're all color coordinating except for Michelle. I wish Michelle would have wore either like that fuchsia pinky red color that's in Rue's dress,
or black sequins,
silver or black. Yeah, that's what I wish she would have went with because I feel like everybody was color coordinated. Which, I mean, her outfit is pink and silver. It just doesn't match Rue's. I just feel like this is the most color coordinated we've ever seen.
Yep,
the guest judges be.
I agree. Oh, and then I love the Shantae fans that both of them had. That was very cute.
I love that they're both wearing the same designer. It wasn't Schiaparelli. That's what Alyssa Betty was trying to go for with their design. Who was it?
I don't remember.
Mary Blair. I can't remember who the designer was. They said they're both wearing. Maybe it's Chanel. I can't remember.
So first up, we have First up, we have Ginger and Daya as Shelly and Wendy. They went with a water and wind elemental sisters, very Powerpuff Girls on a budget. So let's go into first Ginger Minj. What do you think of her?
I feel like out of the duo that she was the strongest. Like I said, she had the best comedic timing. Like after Daya Betty said her line, like as soon as she got done, Ginger's like, well, actually, like that was like the most funny thing. It's when she's like stutters. She's like, but actually, my favorite thing to do is that was so funny to me. I feel like she was the strongest. Not the strongest out of the duo. I feel like she was the strongest comedically. I don't feel like her outfit was the strongest. I do like that her and Daya went with the same colors, just a different outfit because they're like sisters. But I feel like her performance was the strongest. Her dialogue and performance was the strongest.
My favorite line was and nobody can tell us apart because we're twins. And it was like, oh, everybody can tell you apart.
Yeah.
That is just like comedic. And Rude, of course, loves it and dies laughing.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, though. Like, I don't feel like her outfit was the best. However, I feel like she could have walked out there in a blue paper bag and it would have worked because she knows how to sell whatever it is that she's doing. Mary says Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger. You're not wrong. And I feel like just hold on, let me think really quick. Who the rest? Yeah. So just based off of with her runway not being the best, her runways are down below some of the others. But because it was so well written, and I know she did most of that, I'm going to give her my.
Yeah, I'm gonna outfits aside, I'm basing this more so on the performance with just a little bit of the outfit. I would say she was my slave of the day as well.
Okay. So let's go on to her counterpart.
Mary. Mary's like Maleficent and Ursula Party City. It's giving more like Black Swan.
Yeah. That's my reference point too.
Yeah, Ursula and Black Swan is kind of what it's giving.
So Ginger, in my opinion, was so good. I feel like she carried both of them. And that tells you how really bad the rest of them were. But Daya was doing way too much. It was just too much like vroom, 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 vroom. You know, and I've said this before about another challenge, but I base a lot of my opinion off of how easy it is for me to grab a screenshot when we're doing this podcast. Because this was the best. You see the screenshot? This was the best one I could get of her because she was moving so fast. Like, it's hard to be able to pause. Like with Ginger's taking moments, you know, and being very kind of slow, and I love that. Daya was just too fast. So Daya, I'm just going to give. I really want to mop it, but I expected more out of Daya Betty for this. So for me, she gets popcorn pass.
I would mop it because I know that her and Acid were the ones out of their groups that were designing and making the outfits mostly. But I feel like they didn't get enough credit because both of them were literally the ones designing and making the outfits. I feel like if they were just making an outfit for themselves, it would have been the best on the runway for both of them. But because she was making an outfit for her and Ginger was working on the dialogues and stuff.
Well, Ginger made her own outfit. She helped her a lot with it, but Ginger was doing, yeah.
But Daya is the one that so designed it.
Mary says, but does this apply in real life? But does it apply in real life? Because drag queens do film monologues and act them out like this. I mean, yes, but there's a difference between doing it and it being chaotic and doing it and it's more fluid and, you know, kind of funny. Because part of drag is you're wanting it to be something that catches on and people, you know, and if you're just being very chaotic, unless it's like a super fast dance number, you're wanting people to be able to like get good screen. So Ginger's giving you like snapshotable moments where you can kind of, you know.
Yeah, but also when you're doing a theme, like when a drag queen is at their home bar and they're doing a theme, they get to do a theme and monologue of their choice, and they have days or weeks to come up with it. They're not on a time crunch where they have 1 to 2 days to do it, and they're going off of a theme that someone else has chosen for them. So I feel like it's a little bit different.
So moving on along, we'll go to our next duo. And our next duo is is Miss Denali and Miss Alyssa Betty as Glacia and Pyra. White versus red, fire versus ice.
Okay, so this is what I said when I said I had 2 top groups. I said I like Ginger Minj's group because I feel like their dialogue and chemistry was stronger theater-wise, but I liked their group because I feel like their outfits and overall aesthetic was stronger. I know that La Roche said, oh, I'm a stylist. I know when something's been pinned up. Okay, well, they're also making Acid was also making 2 different outfits, not making one outfit, was making 2 different outfits while having to do the dialogue because Acid Betty is a control freak. We love that. But I liked their outfits more than I liked anybody else's, but I like Ginger Minj and Daya Betty's chemistry and dialogue better.
I mean, I sort of agree. Are these better wearable outfits? Yes. However, this was nothing that we've not seen or expected from Denali. And it was not done, which of course Acid was pulling. It was like pulling teeth to even try to get a story with Denali because Denali was just not that girl. But I honestly felt bad for Acid, but I mean, it was not good. Like the story didn't make up for anything. It was the most boring thing. Come on, you use your powers combined to make venti coffee or make coffee. Like, bitch, come on.
Yeah.
You should have just made yourself Starbucks cups.
It's weird that they like Denali's outfit better because
let's go to Denali. Let's talk about her.
Okay, Denali's outfit they liked better, but I feel like it was the most simple, and I feel like it wasn't constructed that well. Like I get the concept, but I feel like you could see like the cardboard and the corset and the padding and everything underneath it, and they like ate it up.
I mean, that's what they got called out for. They got called out for that.
I disagree that her outfit. I liked Acid Betty's outfit. I mean, yeah, Acid Betty's outfit better. They're like, oh, well, I feel like you pinned this fabric up. Okay, she pinned some fabric up. They were crunched for time. They were writing a dialogue. They were making outfits.
But even RuPaul called it out and said she could see the foam of the outfit. Yeah. So, I mean, that's just not runway or worthy,
I would say out of everybody's outfits on the runway, I'm going to give Acid Betty my slay of the day with outfit, but I'm going to say overall performance was Ginger Minj slay of the day.
Okay, but we're not talking about them right now. We're talking about Denali. So,
I'm going to say, I was going to say mop it if it was more finished, but I'm just going to say.
Hold on. Whenever I click the things, by the way, it mutes both of our microphones. So that's why I'm only leaving them up for a second. But and for me, sorry.
911, what's your emergency?
Hated it. Couch catastrophe. Moving on along to Acid Betty. I like this. I would mop. But I just feel like I expected some, and whenever people did this, I was like, someone's going to do ice and fire. Like I called that before we even got into the episode. I was like, oh, someone's going to do ice and fire, because it's just so predictable. So I wanted to see them come out of their elements and do something different, and they did. So
it was giving the movie Elemental from.
Yes,
that's exactly what it was giving to me. I feel like if Denali had played a little bit more into the ice and added some more silver fabric to cover it, because hers is just like monochromatic, it's one color. If she would have added some more like silver and played more into the ice, like Acid Betty played into the fire, I feel like they probably could have won. Even though their chemistry wasn't as much as strong as Ginger and Daya's was, I feel like their outfits were stronger if they would have been more finished.
Mary says, for me, the top two are Acid and your performance, Ginger. So I agree with Dakota.
Yep. That's why I say those are my.
What are you going to do with this?
Slay.
You already given a slay to Ginger.
Well, I'm going to
mop it.
Yeah, I'm going to mop it.
Doesn't Pokemon have 18 elements and they use 4 max? Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not a Pokemon girl. So moving on along to there it is. Cynthia Lee Fontaine and Alyssa Hunter is auntie and rebellious niece. this story was so specific, so weird, but very Cynthia Lee Fontaine.
It was chaotic, to say the least. I love them, and I love their repping for the Latinas, and like their accents just, it just makes everything so much more camp and funny. But like, it was so chaotic.
Yeah.
Like the rhinestone shoe. Oh my gosh.
Well, the chancla. I'm saying that wrong. I know I'm butchering that, but it's like a chancla. And so my apparently Latina mothers will like beat kids with the little flip flop type.
They will take their shoe off and they'll be like,
yeah, and that's hitting them with what it's apparently according to Selena titties. So I don't know. I love it. I find it hilarious, but also like. Again, this is still going off Fire and Ice. So it's almost like it's a carbon copy off of what hold on, let's look back. Let's see. So these looks and these looks look very similar. So I mean like
Acid Betty's looked more designer, these look more like
see, I feel like Cynthia Lee Fontaine's looks more designer, and Acid Betty, I mean, it's cute, but like, I don't know, something that's more wearable, I would say Cynthia's is.
Acid Betty looks more like Thierry Mugler meets Cher's designer. I forgot what his name was.
Mackie?
Not Matthew Anderson.
Bob Mackie.
Oh, yes, Bob. But it's very Bob Mackie meets Thierry Mugler. That is what Acid Betty's was giving me. I feel like Cynthia Lee Fontaine's, the color scheme was there, but I feel like it looked cheaper because you could just tell that it was like cardboard cutouts with fabric over it.
Yeah.
I feel like if they would have had Acid Betty's touch, these would have been the best outfits.
Yep. So let's go into each one. So first up is Cynthia Lee Fontaine. I think she looks gorgeous. I would have liked different hair. I feel like the hair did not do any favors for her face. I felt like it made it very boxy. I would have liked to have seen bigger hair with this look, but I like it overall because I thought it was more the most wearable dress up there, so I'm going to mock it. What about you, girl?
I don't think there was any couch catastrophes for me personally. I'm just gonna say, popcorn pass.
That dog yawning.
I feel like whenever you have a big fascinator or like big shoulders, I feel like you need to have a big updo or sculpted hair to do something like very like the Ice Queen from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, how her ice crown like was super big and long. I feel like she should have done something similar to that.
Crown. Yep. I agree. Alyssa Hunter. I love her. This is just very chaotic. She looks like a red rooster. Like with the feathers going all over the place, I don't care for I know what she was going for. She just did not.
It's giving very like Curse of the Golden Flower, very like geisha.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it's giving me. I'm
gonna make
it's a popcorn pass for me as well. I feel like their outfits, if they had someone else's touch on them, I feel like they could have been the best outfits, honestly, with the color schemes. I just feel like it needed a little something to tie everything together. And I don't feel like their dialogue was as strong as everybody else's. But I feel like everybody did well. I don't feel like anybody did horrible. But again, Slay of the Day, look-wise, is going to be Acid Betty for me. Slay of the Day, performance and dialogue-wise, is going to be Ginger Minj.
Yep. So excuse me. We find out after the on stage, after the critiques, that the top two are indeed Ginger Minj and Daya Betty. Do you agree with that?
I do.
I see why Daya was there, because I mean, I feel like Ginger pulled her there, but I feel like Acid probably should have been given, her flowers as well. But I feel like Acid should replace Daya.
I actually like Ginger's lip sync dress better than her dress that they made. I feel like the color scheme is just it's less matchy. I feel like,
but that's nothing to do with water. Red has nothing to do with water.
I know, but I just feel like with the whole, like everybody else is kind of doing that fire and ice theme, I just feel like it complements how it's like that dark, deep sapphire, aqua blue, and then you have like that deep, like multi.
This is also a dress that Ginger owned.
Yeah, it goes really well. Like, honestly, I love this. So
I like the fact that they were a little bit more matchy because of the fact that it made them stand out from the other girls. Because the other girls were basically wearing red and blue. When you break it down. So we find out that they are doing Defying Gravity from Idina Menzel from the original Broadway recording of Wicked. Girl, this was good. Like, I really and truly thought that it was going to be a double Shantae. Like a double.
I think both of them did amazing. I just kind of knew that Ginger, with her theater background, was going to catch the essence of the song a little bit better. I'm sure Ginger does that song a lot. So I kind of knew that Ginger had this in the bag.
Yep. And yeah, I love the ending of it. Ariana Grande literally cried on stage. Cynthia Revo was talking about semen. Mama Ru was giving side eye. It was a moment. But in the end, Ginger Minj snatched that extra point and $10,000, which, let's be honest, she needed a win after All-Star 6. Then, of course, we find out from all the girls that they're going to be getting the MVQ points and they're going to have to pass them out. So that should be interesting next week. And the preview of next week's episode showed a little bit of cattiness and showed Daya and Ginger saying, we're going to have to be strategic here. And somebody saying, what are y'all going to do with MVQ points? Well, we're not giving any to you, So something probably happens, and I'm here for it. I'm ready to see these bitches fight. Mary Dua says, Ginger ate. Ginger showed why she should have been Ursula in The Little Mermaid.
She would make a really good Ursula.
And here we go with the final four. So how do you think this point thing is going to go down? Let's try and predict it.
I definitely think that the girls are going to give points to the girls that don't have points. I don't think they're going to give it to I don't think they're going to give it to Ginger or Daya. So I feel like
I think they're each going to give one to each other.
I feel like Acid and Denali might give each other. I feel like they're either going to go with who their duo partner was, or they're going to go with their friendships. And I feel like Acid and Cynthia are going to give each other a point because they're friends, and then maybe Denali and Alyssa are going to give each other points. I don't know. I feel like they're going to give it based on their group. I feel like Acid and Denali, and then Cynthia and
and then we find out next week is going to be a music challenge with Orville Peck. Woo, daddy is hot. But it's going to be a good old-fashioned hoedown, throwdown, the Stagecoach Drag Festival. Should be fringes and twangs and at least one hoedown. Mary says, I feel it is clear Ginger's moving forward, but everyone else seems at the same level, and they are not RuPaul's favorites, so anybody is game.
I feel like it's going to be Daya and Ginger, and my third is either going to be either Denali or Acid Betty for my top three.
Joseph Collins, hey girl, hey, says next week seems like another Ginger win. I agree. I My top three, I feel like are going to move through. And this totally out there, but I think it's going to be, I agree, it's going to be Ginger and Daya Betty. And just because she's brought this person back, this is her third time back, I'm going to say Cynthia Lee Fontaine.
Cynthia Lee and Ginger are in my picks. I don't necessarily think that. There's a couple in our brackets that we picked because that's all that was left, and not necessarily that we thought we're going to make it to the very end. But Ginger was one of my first.
Let's pull up our brackets.
Yes.
First, let's look at Tsunamis.
Tsunami has half of bracket 3. So she has a very good chance of having someone that makes it to the end of the third bracket.
You know what? I'm just going to make a prediction here. I don't think she will have any that move forward. I don't feel like she's got any that's going to move forward into the the final bracket.
Do you think Cynthia Lee Fontaine is going to make it in the 3?
I think she will. And if that happens, then I feel like Tsunami is going to have 2. I feel like she's got Bosco and Georges, which still I think she's got a good chance because I feel like Georges, this may be her chance, her season to win. Let's see what you've got. You've got Cynthia Fontaine and you've got Ginger. I feel like both of those are moving through. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
And the only reason I'm saying that about Cynthia Lee Fontaine is solely because she's been here so many times. That to me is giving those girls an edge over the other girls because Acid's been here once and she was an early out, and same with Denali. So I just don't feel like they've got as much.
I just don't feel like every time that Cynthia's been on there that she was super strong at any of the challenges.
I don't either, but being on more than not enough is more experience than the others have.
I only chose Cynthia Lee Fontaine and Deja Sky because they were like, I had to pick 2 more people and that's all that was left. I love them. They weren't necessarily my top picks for my bracket, but Ginger Minj, Aja, and Lydia Butthole.
Because you got Lydia Butthole Collins.
Yeah, Lydia, and those were my top 3 picks. Those are the first 3 people that I picked. So those are the 3 that I thought would make it to the end.
Then from my bracket, I feel like Daya's going through. So I feel like I will have 3 in the final bracket. And hold on. Spoiler alert. I'm gonna say something and it's only gonna be one really quick. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I feel like the person that comes back, the wild card, is in my bracket.
I feel like you told me who you know or who you heard was rumored because you're part of those channels. And it's going to be Sasha Colby's drag daughter.
Yeah, Colby. Mm-hmm. That's the rumor, but we shall see. I hope that is the case because she came very, 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 very close, more so than anybody else in any of the other brackets. So I feel like that would probably be most fair. And we need a doll. Well, we've already got Bosco, but we need at least 2 dolls. And
then with what happened to her at the end, her and Mistress at the end of bracket 3, I feel like that's going to bring even more drama. So I feel like they want that.
And spoilers are done. Sorry about that. Just got to say it. But yeah, I feel like it's going to be interesting nonetheless. If you had to pick a winner from somebody from this bracket, only is going to win the whole thing, who do you think from this bracket is going to win the entire thing?
Ginger Minj. That's who I've said since the beginning.
I completely would agree.
You didn't agree with that at first because when I said I thought Ginger Minj, you said before the season started, you didn't think that you thought she would make it to the top 3 or 4, but you said you didn't think that she would be the winner.
No, I don't think that was not my question, Boo. I did not say who is going to win the entire thing based out of all the brackets. I said out of only this bracket, out of these 6 queens, who would win out of these 6 queens? And I feel like Ginger would be the clear winner. But stacked against bracket 1 and 2, no, I don't think Ginger will win. But yeah, out of this bracket, I would think Ginger. Oh, Mary said Mistress on her channel had Carrie Colby, and she is still snowing her hard. Yeah.
What is snow?
I don't know. I think riding her hard, but they're still having it. But I think they made it clear that all of the drama was just for TV. Carrie's not pissed. She even said that she told Sasha that she was probably just being hormonal, which Dakota called. So, we'll see. I think it's just all for TV. It's all for views, folks. All for views. So what else you got for us, Dakota? Anything?
No, ma'am. I can't wait for next week's episode.
I know. Anytime you get Orville Peck on TV, it's good. And it'd be even better if he was naked.
He was in that magazine shoot that he did a couple months
ago. I've seen. If you've never looked, just go to Uncle Google and just type in Orville Peck.
We've still never seen his face, but
well, there's some places you've seen his face, and some of those pictures of the nudes he did, you've seen his face. He's handsome, and I don't care. He could still be ugly underneath that mask. He could just wear that mask and fuck the dog shit out of me, and that'd be good. All right. Well, Dakota, where can everybody find you at and follow you on social medias?
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. Those are really the only things that I'm active on. And it's just like my handle, Dakota Rain with an E, XOXO.
Just Colin said he's provided a hell of a boost to Cabaret on Broadway as well. And his face is on full display. Yes. I heard he's done a really good job on that. And love Orville Peck. He is so fucking talented. So support him if you can. And y'all go and give Dakota a follow on social media. Y'all can also follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky at KenzieJoe205. And you can follow me on Twitter or X, whatever it's called these days, at Kenzie_reality. You can also follow the Couch Potato Queens on Twitter at Couch Potato QWNZ, Instagram at Couch Potato Queens, Facebook as well. And you can subscribe to our YouTube channel here. Make sure you click that like and make sure you share and comment. Please comment. That helps us out so much. You can also check out our website at www.couchpotatoqueens.com. That does forward to our YouTube channel for now. We will also be back on July the 10th, maybe a little bit before, to start discussing Big Brother Season 27. And this is the 25th anniversary of Big Brother. So I expect big things to happen. We will also be continuing doing exit interviews for each house guest each week. So make sure you tune in for that, where we get exclusive sit-downs with each of the evicted house guests a couple of days after they're evicted. And, well, we enjoyed it having y'all here tonight, and we love you, our little spellbound sweethearts. That's it for tonight's witchy rendezvous. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss a single shady syllable. And if you enjoyed the show, send us some love, because these broomsticks don't fly on hopes and lip gloss alone. We will be back next week with more glitter, more gossip, and gay and tranny gasp. Until then, stay wicked, stay wonderful, and stay on that couch. Bye, tater tots.